says I'm live. I sure don't feel alive right now. Yeah, normally this kind of stuff try to wait a little bit later, but I'm not sure if I'll get much of a chance to do anything, so I'm doing this now. I'm tired, so we'll see if that affects me at all or not. So this is kind of something I've been thinking about for a while, so now I'm finally doing it. But I've been thinking, and I want to try to get people into movies, actually really love movies, and a lot of people, and like your older films, it doesn't gel with them. They don't dig it. I want to try to change that. So I figured, what if I could get people to, start to try to get them to get into silent movies? How would I go about that? Would there be some films that I could do, like starting with some modern ones, and ease them into it, whether it's like things that are with limited dialogue or something like that, or there's a combination of the two, where it's like a hybrid of talkies and silence, things like that. So, got a couple piles here. One, it's the film. My recommendations to maybe get into it. And then the second pile, it's just the rest of most of my silent movies. It's not the biggest, but it's bigger than some people's. It's bigger than most people's I know. So, yeah. So that's where that's going from. This might be a rough one for me. Now, there was something else I was going to say, but it totally slipped my mind. I wonder what it was going to be. Well, while I'm thinking, I'm gonna grab something to drink quick. Feeling a little thirsty. I knew that would work. I remember what I was going to say. I was going to say maybe doing it like this time, because normally I try to wait till later, around more of like the optimal streaming time. But if I do it now, people will come in and it might make it a little bit easier to get this done with. But if somebody does come in, well, that'll be fine too. So, I got most of the stuff. There's some things I don't have with me, but I can still mention them. So, all right. Initially, I was going to try to get these in like an order, but I'm kind of all jumbled up. But it'll help. It'll be a starter. It's just a primer, something to get you going. So, okay, here we go. Hugo, a Martin Scorsese film. This is pretty much a love letter by Scorsese of silent cinema. So it takes place. Trying to think when it would actually take place. I might be able to get a good idea, an exact year. All right. Gonna have to swing around. Okay. All right. So if some of the movies that they show is any indication, because we see some clips briefly from Safety Last. And that was released in 1923. So this could be 23 or later, like if it be a re-release, which, used to happen all the time before, television and whatnot. So, yeah, anyways, this film, it revolves around this kid. He finds this automaton, puts it together, and then he finds out the man who created it. It's George Méliès, one of the founding fathers of the special effects spectacular. So we see clips from A Trip to the Moon, and Safety Last, and maybe some other things in there. There's an entire scene in this film which is pretty much a big shout out to Safety Last and the whole clock thing. So this might maybe help you into the mindset, the time period, and everything. It's nowhere near close to being a silent film, but it revolves around it, and it might help. Maybe some of Scorsese's love will rub off on you, perhaps. Metropolis. Now I'm referring specifically to Giorgio Moroder's version. The guy that he did score for like Flashdance and Midnight Express. But around this time, there was some newly discovered footage of this film. He got a hold of it, and he updated it for a modern audience, as in the modern audience of 1984. So what he did, the new added footage was put into it. There's some intertitles to help, make things, make a bit more sense. But it was, some spots were colorized, others were not. But the biggest thing was the inclusion of music from some pretty big acts of that time. So let's get a track listing. So nonstop, we have some stuff from Giorgio himself, and then I don't know if it's Circle D or Circle 5 offhand, but it's not important. Pat Benatar, John Anderson, Billy Squier, Adam Ant, Bonnie Taylor, Freddie Mercury, Loverboy. So this film, it's almost kind of like a music video, a rock opera. This film came out in 1927, but he turned it into something 100% pure 80s, and it is amazing. The splashes of colors here and there, and the really synth heavy music. It's fantastic. So if you like music videos and whatnot, this is definitely something to check out. Pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. A lot better than this slipcover. Some of those, it seems like I had this for like one day and already slipcovers started becoming crap. Yeah. Okay. Now the next one, it's kind of an odd pick, but I picked it for its very limited use of dialogues, used very sparingly, both in Road Warrior and Fury Road. But I'm looking mainly at Fury Road. That seems to have the least amount of dialogue of all the films. I'm trying to remember how much. Not that there's quite a bit of dialogue in Thunderdome. I think fair amount with yeah, because Max, he talks with some fellow coppers quite a bit, but all there's these aren't the most talkative films in general. But Fury Road, he really tries to push it, do everything as visually as possible. And if you really want to get into the silent movie even more, there's the Black and Chrome edition, which it's the exact same movie except all colors stripped out. It's a black and white version. So there's that. This for limited dialogue. Got some Mel Brooks here. Silent movie. Now, don't recall what year this came out in, but yeah, there's only one word of dialogue spoken in this film, and it's spoken by a mime. So it's a lot more visual gags, which Brooks has always done quite a bit, but it's definitely prominent here since there's no dialogue. There's intertitles like you'd expect from a silent film, but this is from this is probably 76. It's fun. It's not my favorite Brooks film. That's reserved for High Anxiety because of my love of Hitchcock. Both of these, so it's classical music, but then there's a visual element added to them. It says Sorcerer's Apprentice and whatnot, but in between each segment, there's a brief introduction, but the animations themselves, it's strictly visuals and the music. No dialogue, no intertitles, just a blending of the two sound and visuals to make a pretty cool experience. First one, more so. But Fantasia 2000, it's still cool. There's different styles of animation and different styles of music, so this is pretty cool. Now, before with Mad Max, I was talking about limited use of dialogue. This isn't quite the same thing. It's the limited use of sound. This is Fritz Lang's first real true talkie, the same director that did Metropolis. But there is quite can be quite a bit of talking because there's a trial, there's like police procedural stuff going on, the thief procedural stuff. So there's talking, but the sound is only used when it is absolutely necessary to help add emphasis for things or bring your attention to things. Like the whistling. If you're whistling, you know something's going to happen. Or like there's this one scene where there's a bunch of people running. You don't hear any footsteps, but you might hear a person scream, the whistling of a cop, but the footfalls are silent, and it just adds to the intensity of everything. It just makes it so much more impactful. It's brilliant. It's amazing, and it just makes what would be a good film something truly to behold. This is definitely one of my all-time favorite movies. It always says there's at least one person watching, and I always wonder if I am that person watching. I'll have to find that out. I'll have to find that out. Hitchcock is a person that kind of likes to limit dialogue in general. But that aspect of him definitely seems to be among the most prominent in The Birds. It's definitely there in most of his other films, but that's the one that sticks out to me with how limited the dialogue can be. There can be long stretches of talking, but then there's even longer stretches of just, people walking slowly, intently, and it, you know, adds to the suspense, much like N. So, yes, definitely check out all these films, but I don't know, The Bird seems to really burn my mind with that aspect. Like the screwball, probably, trying to catch the bird, and then, when Melanie is going, across the bay, it's just her in the boat, no words. She's in the house, silent. She comes back, not a single word, and then as the bird hits her, we see Mitch over there, he's too far away. We can't hear anything he's saying. All we can hear is the motorboat going, cruising along. Great stuff. Another film without a whole lot of dialogue, and this there's this is a French film, but for Criterion, this has a very interesting feature. It has an alternate English language soundtrack, which is something that Criterion generally doesn't do. Sometimes they will occasionally, but not very often. I can only really think of like two other films that have that. One, I think it's like Empire of Passion or whatever, and uh, kaiju movie, Monster from Planet X or something. I gotta find out. It's gonna bug me. The X from outer space. I was on the right track there. All right. 20 minutes. Yeah, looks like this might be a nice short one. Assuming nobody comes in, which I both want somebody to come in, but I also don't want somebody to come in. Because either it means I can start a conversation with someone, or I can wrap this up early and get at least an hour of sleep. So I like both of those outcomes. So I won't be complaining either which one. So. Sorry. Sorry. Here I'm looking mostly at the red balloon. Again, very little dialogue. And the film itself, it's only 34 minutes, so that length can help, maybe prevent any boredom that might occur. And there's only like maybe a few lines of dialogue in this film. It's of all the movies that I've mentioned with limited dialogue, this is by far the least amount. It's all about carrying us from point A to point B. We learn enough about the kid, and his relationship with this sentient balloon. And White Man sort of fits, but how this one works, there's really no dialogue in the film, but it's narrated all the way through. Now, this one, okay. So yeah, so the narration, I've seen both French and English. Yeah, the English, narrations by Peter Strauss, and so yeah, talking all the way through, which will be something that coming up later, but similar thing going on. So, White Mane, Red Balloon specifically. Here we have Benny and June. Johnny Depp, you know, his character, he has huge fondness of like vaudeville and silent comedy. So you see him, he recreates some things like, the little dinner roll dance, that like Charlie Chaplin and Fats Arbuckle, I think. Or, some other guy did it before him. Charlie used it as well, but taking the two little forks, sticking them in dinner rolls, and making it look like his massive head is dancing on these little legs. The elusive hat that doesn't stay off. So this might be kind of like Hugo, or maybe the character's love of something might help get you into the mood. And ease yourself into it. So we're getting towards the end of the introductory area. Speak. The Gold Rush. Specifically the 1942 2 version. It is a little bit shorter, mainly due to the lack of intertitles. Now why would you get rid of intertitles? Well, much like White Mane, it's narrated. So Chaplin, he's explaining everything that's going on. So like if there's any dialogue, instead of an intertitle, Charlie is just going to read those lines. So, the words will sync up, so we don't have to cut from what's being said to a visual interpretation of what's being said. It's just being said in mouth and dialogue, so it helps cut time. And it can help give it more of a talky feel than being a straight up silent film. So the narration aspect of it can help. Now another, I forgot that it was being borrowed until I started looking for it, and I was like, oh, I think it is being borrowed. But I took so much time doing this that I didn't want to wait and do it again, so another Chaplin film, Modern Times. This is a hybrid between talkie and silent, because Chaplin, along with a lot of other filmmakers, struggled with the idea of going, from the silent to the talkies, mainly because they felt, with the nature of silent cinema could have more of a universal, worldwide appeal, because instead of doing like anything like dubbing over anything, just change the intertitle and leave the rest of the film it is, instead of having dialogue that doesn't quite match up or anything like that. So a lot of them struggled, and this was a kind of experimental in the combination of the two. So whenever there's actual like organic conversation going on, that's done in the traditional silent intertitles. And there is dialogue in this film, but it's always through artificial means, like a radio, a record player, or even a big, huge telescreen. So the dialogue, with the exception towards the very end when Charlie sings. He sings in this film. He speaks gibberish. There's setup, he has the words written on his cuff, and he's supposed to sing it, but he loses the words. So he remembers the melody, but he just makes up whatever random things come to his mind. Doesn't make any sense. There's no real words, but it's still actual audible dialogue to help transition fully from the talkie era to the silent. And the final one I have, it's more of a modern silent. It's The Artist. It's talking about the transitional period from the silent era to the talkie. So it's kind of like a Singing in the Rain or Sunset Boulevard, except this is presented as a silent film for most of the movie. Most of it. Like we get dialogue towards the end when the main character, he accepts the fate that he's gonna have to, that the silent era is dead. And then it becomes a talkie towards the very end. It's a pretty cool movie. I like this. This is pretty neat. Definitely worth something checking out. So those are some of the introductory pieces, which I'll run through them one more time quick. Modern Times, The Artist, the 1942 re-release of The Gold Rush, Benny and June, Fantastic Planet, Red Balloon, to a lesser extent, White Man. Good chunk of Hitchcock, but I feel The Bird showcases it the best. And the original 1931 version, Fantasia 2000, silent movie, the Mad Max film, specifically Fury Road, and specifically the Black and Chrome edition. It is Black and Chrome, that is what they call it, right? Yeah, Black and Chrome. Giorgio Moroder's re-release of Metropolis, and Hugo. Now, I'm going to go through some other silent films I have. If you want to, get into it, here's what I have, and I can give you some brief thoughts, and maybe that'll help you decide if any of these films would be an interest to you. Safety Last. This is heavily referenced in Hugo, and we even see this moment in it. In this moment, there's a huge reference to it. We know the precarious clock. So, Safety Last. Harold Lloyd, of the three geniuses being Harold Lloyd, Charlie Chaplin, and Buster Keaton, is my least favorite of the three, except for the films that he's in. The biggest strength has a tendency to be the intertitles. A lot of times the intertitles of these movies are hilarious. And but this is a fun film. It's if you like more actiony movies, this might be something to look into because of the nature. There's him scaling the building, everything going wrong. May start a little bit slow, but the end can definitely help make up for any waiting I would have to do. Passion of Joan of Arc. It's definitely kind of a moving performance from What's Your Face. Wow, man, never realized how I can hardly read the text. It's this white text on a little bit lighter shades of gray. It's trying to see who played Joan, but I can't tell. On a lot of these movies, it's not silent. There is a music score to it. So don't be surprised if you hear music throughout. It's not silent. is that there was always been musical accompaniment to these. Just they would be done from sources outside of the film itself, like maybe like a live band or someone at the piano. So all these generally will have musical cues. Just throwing that out there. Yeah, this is considered film is considered to have like one of the best performances of all time, and it is moving. It is a good film. It's it's somber, it's sad. Obviously, it's about a woman that's going to be killed. Killed for her beliefs and doing what she thought was right. Whether or not you think she's insane or not, that's not important. It's about the passion. So, far cry from Harold Lloyd, but definitely a powerful film. If you like something more drama, and this is about the trial. So if you like court dramas, well, here's a silent court drama. The movies begin. All kinds of stuff in here. We've got some really like this has Trip to the Moon. It's not the colorized version of Trip to the Moon as we see in Hugo, but it is here and has other milias, and it's got let's see, Great Train Robbery. And with the Trip to the Moon, there is narration to this as well. But I guess Milius, with his movie, he'd write some narration. So with this and another one, which is in the DVD dedicated exclusively to him, Milius, essentially the godfather of special effects. And that's all his films were pretty much to. Hey, look what I can do with this new amazing technology. He was a magician, so he applied, some of his knowledge of that, and taking advantage of, the ability to edit to make something truly unique. This has, stuff about Edison. Most of these, they're all, each little thing, for the most part, they're only a few minutes long. So it's just watch it here and there. So that can help combat any kind of boredom you may have. And, help discover films. And some things in here you might be surprised. Like, this box is not doing very well. Take it out for now. Look at each thing to try to spark my memory as to what's in here. Okay. So yeah, this is all, this disc is stuff made outside of the United States. So we have like one of the very first things that would essentially, become, like a Keystone, Copper, films, and this, this one with explosion of the automobile, or is that a different one? Okay, this is exactly what I was thinking of something else. I'll end up running across it, but there's some cool stuff. All of these have cool stuff, and see the evolution of cinema. Like this has some stuff by Edison, the guy that created the movies essentially. Cinema wouldn't exist without Edison, and he made the very first films to showcase his new technology. The Great Train Robbery, it's a classic. That's the movie, where people kind of freaking out, seeing, a train rushing right at them. They ran out of this cinema. And these are mostly like stuff, like special effects and, you know, visual, unique visuals that, this is the one with explosion of a motor car. Of the entire set, my favorite thing is explosion of a motor car. To me, you could be like one of the very first black comedies. It's hilarious. Let me tell you what it is. All right, we see this vehicle, with a couple people in it, cruising towards the camera. Then, boom! There's this puff of smoke and fire. People are going. The car is just burning. There's there's this copper nearby. He goes over and starts investigating it. And then these like arms, legs, torsos start falling all over at random. And the copper's reaction is to just pick up each part, throw them in a little pile where the car was, just a few little notes, and he just walks off. I absolutely love it. Great stuff. This is has W.D. Griffith, the one I was thinking of. This has some stuff by Lindsay McKay, the creator of Little Nemo, which which would become a film from the '80s, Nemo in Dreamland or whatever it is, and that video game. But also, he is essentially the creator of the animated film. And there's a film in here by W.D. Griffith that may seem a little familiar to some people. It's all black and white, except for a woman's red dress. And this is all Méliès, all special effects. These are comedies, New Horizons. Oh, I'm sorry. This is the one that has the first Keystone Copper film. This one, not the European one. This one. So it's a cool set, a good little introduction, and the length of everything can help, prevent fatigue. So. Cabin of Dr. Caligari. Now, this is one where it's mainly about the visuals. Nothing looks real. Everything, it's all dreamy, weird. Well, this cover gives you a bit of an idea of what to expect. Everything's at harsh, weird angles. Like, doors are, shaped like that instead of a rectangle. And harsh lightings. Pretty cool. nothing really showcased on the back, but you can see several harsh shadows with multiple light sources. This is a cool film. It's kind of considered to be like one of the first horror films from 1920. Edison's Frankenstein, I think, might have been 1919, but that's barely 10 minutes, I think. This is 77 minutes, so for like feature length, it's one of the first. And you can see a lot of influence from other films from that, not only with visuals, but with the story. Metropolis is making the list again. This is the most complete version at this time. It probably will be the most complete. With 25 additional minutes longer than the Mordor version. So I haven't watched this version yet. Someday I will. But if you watch, the other one, the 84 version, and you want more of the story, well, here you go. 25 minutes. That's a lot of additional footage. Wow, it's quite impressive. Yeah. You never know when these things show up. It's like Passenger Joan of Arc. That film was thought to be lost, but it was found at a mental institution. Why would a film show up there? But it did, and the world is a better place because of it. And this isn't completely complete, but I doubt you're going to do any better than this. But you never know. Who knows? Maybe they will find the remaining few minutes. And they found 25 minutes. You never know. King of Kings, story of the life of Jesus. And there are two versions. There's a 155-minute version and a 112-minute version. I only watched the 112-minute version. This is quite the epic, as Cecil B. DeMille had its tendency to do. Because I believe he also, did the original Ben-Hur and whatnot. So he was pretty much one of the first people to give us the epic. And there are parts where colorization is used. It's used sparingly, and it's mostly towards the end, during the resurrection and all that, to really add, to the emphasis and the glory and the amazing thing of, the resurrection of Christ, and the dying of the sins and all that. It's used very sparingly, used only to add impact. So sorry. Anyways, this and another film I will be getting to, I like to consider these the original Universal monsters. Lon Chaney, one of the first, considered to be one of the first, true makeup effects, geniuses. Let me try to give you a better look at what Chaney put himself through to become Quasimodo. Mm, not quite. This is pretty good. That's Lon Chaney right there is Quasimodo. You'll be seeing him again, and he looks drastically different. So I do have a tendency to like to put this with Universal Monsters, although nobody else ever does. They're much more likely to do that with the other Lon Chaney film I will be talking about. Yeah, the hump he was wearing, I guess, was 50 pounds or not. Very straining. Hardly moved his face because of the plate that he put in his mouth to get that specific look. He put himself through a lot to become the characters that he played. More Hitchcock. There's two films in here, Downhill and The Lodger. Hitchcock considers The Lodger to be his first truly Hitchcockian film. This is Tinted. Let me talk about Tinting. A lot of people, if they think about cinema, silent movies, it's either black and white or sepia. And what is sepia? But if it wasn't like this whole Technicolor thing where everything was, each frame was hand painted to bring the vivid color out, colors would be used like as a gel where everything's just frames colored one solid color, so it'd be like black and white, black and red, black and yellow, to signify different moods, mood lighting. So like if everything looks blue, that's because it's night. If everything is yellow, generally it's because either you're like outside during the day, everything's kind of orange or red. It'll be like because there's a fire going on, things like that. So color films predate talking movies. Another Harold Lloyd movie. And this, yeah, I sort of forgot what this was. I sort of just forget what really this film is about. I don't know. I guess I just found this kind of forgettable as composed to like a safety last and kid and even a freshman. But still fun, as Lloyd has a tendency to be. And he's considered being, one of the three geniuses for a reason. Master of the House, from the same guy that did Passionate Joan of Arc. And I absolutely love this movie. And if you know any, sometimes I think about like movies that would be fun to show to people that are like ultra feminists and think that, the glass ceiling hasn't been broken, yet. And I can, show them this is like, all right, here is a could be deemed a very feminist film from 1925. It's about, you know, this guy, he's kind of a dick, me, he's sort of big jerk, to his wife, and is it his mother or her mother? But anyways, the two women decide to get a little bit of a revenge, and turn the tables, All right, I'll treat you the way you've been treating me. See how you like it. And it's great. The kid, more Chaplin. Chaplin, of the three geniuses, he is my favorite. Not necessarily because his films are the funniest, but it's the stories he tells. Now, Chaplin, he wants to make you cry. He wants to make you cry with laughter, but he also wants you to cry with sorrow. He wants those two very different emotions to mend and combine to make truly moving experiences. Like, he comes in, finds this kid, he kind of, he knows he can't have it, but he kind of wants to keep it, and whatnot. Not my favorite. I will be getting to my favorite Chaplin film soon. Oh, such an amazing movie. Now here's something a little modern. This is from 1966, a Japanese film. The only movie this guy made, and it's based on a story of his, which there's a translation of it here. So many things out. I'd love it when Criterion puts the source material on it. But it's a short story for a short film. It's less than half an hour. It's grim, it's sad, but and it's graphic. It's it's about this guy's final moments of his life before committing Harry Carey. So we do see some, after effects of him disemboweling himself. So it's kind of a for some people, but it's very interesting nonetheless. Patriotism. In case you couldn't read that, that's what that says there. My favorite Chaplin film, and one of my favorite films of all time. This is from 31, and technically isn't a true silent, but it's more of a silent film than Modern Times is. But there are instances where he does use sound for comedic effect, like at the very beginning. I think it might be like the mayor of a town, someone else, but when we see him talking, instead of hearing actual voice, it's essentially right back. Sorry. It's essentially just him blowing into a kazoo, and then there's a woman comes on and just so there is use of sound in this film, but the dialogue is presented all through intertitles as opposed to Modern Times. So that's City Lights. Truly moving film, in my opinion. hilarious, and tugs at your heartstrings. Some more Hitchcock, and I've seen every film on here except for The Silence, with the exception of The Lodger, being that that now has a Criterion release. But this also has Champagne, Easy Virtue, Farmer's Wife, The Next Man, and The Ring. No, I think I've seen The Max Man. I think I have seen that one. Don't remember much about it. Really don't remember much about any of these movies on this set. Except for The Lady Vanishes. That's a pretty great film. But one of my favorite movies on this set that I've seen would be it's number 17. I want to see a good edition of number 17 because the set on here, it's Mill Creek. It's just, find whatever you can and just, to make a cheap dollar. But that movie needs a restoration. Oh, I really like that movie. But that's not a silence, so can't really talk about that too much in this video, at least. Phantom of the Opera. Well, the other movie I saw, to me, the first Universal monster movie. There's Lon Chaney. Very different from being Quasimodo. And one of the things that makes this easier to throw in there is because the version of Phantom of the Opera with Claude Rains usually gets thrown in with Universal Monsters. It's the only movie in an entire thing that doesn't have a sequel, but Phantom of the Opera gets thrown in there. Haven't seen this one quite yet. Started watching it, but didn't really get too far, and there's like 3 different versions of this movie, so it's kind of cool. Again, something technically not silent. This is from the 50s, but occasionally Red Skelton would like to, do things without any dialogue, just rely on the visuals and the music and some sound effects. And this is one of those. This is a Christmas special. This one I like to watch quite a bit. It's kind of cute, sad, very Chaplin-esque. He wants, not only does he want to make you laugh, but there's also kind of you feel sorry for Freddy. Usually, a lot of times, with Freddy and all of his other characters, they're just fun. But here, I feel kind of sorry for the guy, creating, his little dream fantasy on Christmas, create, to have a Christmas that he doesn't have. Kind of a sweet little thing. Kind of bittersweet. But good. And it's short as well. This has some silent films, from the early days of Mickey, like Steamboat Willie and whatnot. So some short films. So total of 13. How many? Not sure how many are silent. Steamboat Willie is for sure. And Mickey can be kind of a dick. So it's cool kind of, this is a neat little set, to get a, from beginning to later on, get a good taste of Mickey throughout the ages. So kind of cool for that reason. My favorite Harold Lloyd film so far, The Kid Brother. I wasn't expecting to like this as much as I ended up doing it because Lloyd is my least favorite, as I mentioned, but this is really kind of, and this is a bit of a Western too, so if you like Westerns, this might be something to look at. But yeah, I think this is definitely one of his best works, in my opinion. Phantom Carriage. This sort of, this is kind of a very kind of along the lines of like A Christmas Carol or something. A similar story, Let's see. Okay. Yeah. I'll just read it. Why not? Okay. So last person to die on New Year's Eve before the clock strikes 12 is doomed to take the reins of Death's chariot. He will tirelessly collecting fresh souls for the next year. So says the legend that drives the Phantom Carriage. Directed by the father of Swedish cinema, Victor Storholm. Story based on a novel by Samuel Langdorf. Concerns an alcoholic, abusive ne'er-do-well who show an error of his ways. So yeah, it's kind of like a Christmas Carol to a degree, except instead of Christmas, it's New Year's. And this this got me going emotionally too. Another Harold Lloyd, and when I was earlier talking about how hilarious the intertitles can be, that's none showcased here. This showcases it the best. Like the description of the university he goes to, it's described as, you know, a huge football field with a university attached to it. Little things like that. So those are the strength of a lot of these. So Chaplin, I think, has the best, most moving stories. He has the funniest intertitles in Buster Keaton, which sadly I do not have any. Oh, I gotta get some Buster Keaton. He has some of the best gags and the most crazy stunts because he is definitely a stunt man, Buster Keaton. I had a set of the talkies from like the 50s, but what's his face? Get the guy that ended up directing, but he pretty much he turned Buster Keaton into a stooge. I mean, yeah, I like the Stooges. But if I want to watch the Three Stooges, I am going to watch the Three Stooges. I am not going to go to anywhere else for that. That type of brand of slapstick, leave it to them. Leave it to leave it to the Stooges. Let Keaton be feet and let him do his amazing stunt work. He doesn't need to have spikes shoved up his ass every 5 minutes. And that's about it. There's one thing that I would show you, but I don't have it with me right now. But it's a set of it's a big set of films with why can't I? Paul Robbins, is it? Why can't I think of his name? The guy that originally recorded Old Man River. His name escapes me, apart from the last name. It's like Robbins or something like that. But there's 2 silent movies in that set. I saw one of the 2. It was pretty good. It's a drama. It's about it's one of those stories, like, somebody notices, like, hey, that guy looks a lot like me. I'm going to take advantage of that. So, it's this criminal, posing as a preacher, things like that. So, yeah, that's my silent movies and my introduction to silent cinema. So, you made it this far. I hope you got something out of it. And I hope if you never had any interest in silent movies and older films, you are missing out on so many great stories. You have no idea. There are so many movies out there. If you only look at what's new, what's current, you're selling yourself short. So many. Same thing goes with, foreign films. If you can't get yourself to read subtitles, so many great stories you're missing out on. Let me do another rundown of most of my silent movie collection. Might be one or few things that I kind of forgot, but this is the bulk of it. Freshman, Kid Brother, Steamboat Willie for sure. There might be 1 or 2 other silents, but Steamboat Willie for sure. Ready and the Yuletide Doll, Phantom of the Opera, The Ring, The Max Man, Easy Virtue, Champagne, City Lights, Patriotism. There's also quite a bit of sex stuff in this film, so it's sex and violence in the brief half hour. The Kid, a lot of these, like the Harold Lloyd and the Chaplins, they have a lot of other shorter movies too. So you get more than just this. You get other works from them as well. Master of the House, Hunchback of Notre Dame, King of Kings, phantom carriage. The movies begin. The complete Metropolis. Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. The Lodger, downhill. Speedy. Passion of Joan of Arc. Safety last. And that's it. So hopefully this might help get some people into the possibility of opening themselves up to this other form of cinema that you may not have really given much thought. But because, like all movies, there's more than you may realize at face value. A lot of us, we have these preconceptions of what makes a silent movie, and we always think of it's always going to be like a slapstick or something, not much substance, but they can be really powerful experiences if you open yourself up to it. I can't hardly talk today. I'm going to blame that on the lack of sleep. So, yeah. So, can't really think of much else to say offhand. So I'm going to be wrapping this one up. I enjoyed this and been wanting to do a video like this for a while. So hopefully somebody will get something from this. Open yourself up. Not only silent movies, but all cinema. I want to help keep movie lovers going. True movie lovers. I'm not talking about, the people say like, yeah, I love movies. And then they haven't seen anything made after the 90s. Like, oh, no, I don't want to watch that. That's old. How can you call yourself a lover of movies if you're going to be that picky? If you're going to miss out on so many things, you will be amazed at what kind of things you've been missing out on. Because I kind of introduced Dad, to silent movies, I think the first thing I ended up watching with him. My mom, she's not really susceptible to it, but Dad was impressed, and like City Lights, like the emotional depth that's in that film. Yeah, it's funny, but you really feel sorry for that tramp, and you really want, does he get the girl? Does he not? Please let him get the girl. And same thing with a cousin of mine. She was like, seeing that, I was like, yeah, okay, I'm sold. You don't need words to tell a good story. You don't need words to tell a good story. Good stories speak for themselves. And that's all I can say. without going around in circles about missing out on truly amazing experiences. Kind of wish I had some more stuff in my collection to really, you know, delve in, but I think I have enough of a variety to make you realize that there's so much more to it. Well, yeah, that's it for this one. So, see all of you later, and God bless all of you. Let's end this stream finally.